Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel where we share the most moving and inspiring stories of real-life champions. Stories that touch your heart, expand your understanding, and help you learn English naturally. Today, I am going to tell you about a boy who could not sit still. A boy who was full of so much energy that his teachers did not know what to do with him. A boy who was diagnosed with a condition called ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which made it almost impossible for him to focus in school. A boy whose own teacher told his mother, "Your son will never be able to focus on anything. He will never be successful." But that boy found a place where his restless energy became his greatest gift. He found the water. In the silence of the pool, he discovered peace, power, and a focus so intense that it would take him to the top of the world. He became the most decorated Olympian in the history of sport. He won 28 Olympic medals, 23 of them gold. He broke world records that seemed impossible. He swam faster than any human being ever had. And then, after all that glory, he fell into a darkness so deep that he wanted to die. And he had to fight the greatest battle of his life, not in the pool, but in his own mind. His name is Michael Phelps. How did a bullied, hyperactive kid from Baltimore become the greatest swimmer of all time? How did he achieve the impossible in Beijing, winning 8 gold medals at a single Olympic Games? And how did he find the courage to speak openly about his mental health struggles and become a beacon of hope for millions? This is a story about discipline, about obsession, and about the truth that even the strongest among us need help sometimes. And as always, this story is a wonderful way to improve your English. You will learn vocabulary about mental health, sports, and the language of resilience. Words like diagnosis, hyperactivity, depression, therapy, anxiety, endurance, regimen, and setback. So, let us dive in. Let us begin from the very start. Michael Fred Phelps II was born on June 30th, 1985, in Baltimore, Maryland, a city on the East Coast of the United States. He was the youngest of 3 children. His mother, Debbie, was a middle school principal, a strong and loving woman. His father, Fred, was a state trooper, a police officer. From the outside, it seemed like a normal American family. But inside the house, things were not peaceful. His parents argued constantly. The tension was thick. Michael was a sensitive child, and the turmoil at home made him anxious. At school, Michael was a disaster. He could not stay in his seat. His body was always fidgeting, his hands tapping, his legs bouncing. He blurted out answers without raising his hand. He could not follow instructions. His teachers were frustrated. They sent notes home. They said he was difficult, disruptive, and lazy. In 1994, when Michael was 9 years old, a doctor diagnosed him with ADHD. The doctor explained that his brain worked differently. It was hard for him to filter out distractions. It was not that he did not want to focus, it was that he literally could not. His mother, Debbie, refused to accept the teacher's negative judgment. She became his greatest advocate. She worked with him on his focus, using timers, breaking down tasks into small steps. She taught him to channel his energy. But the most powerful medicine she found was not in a pill bottle. It was in a swimming pool. Michael's older sisters, Whitney and Hillary, were swimmers. His mother put him in the water partly for safety and partly to burn off his endless energy. The first time Michael tried to swim, he was terrified. He hated putting his face in the water. He was so uncomfortable that he would float on his back instead of swimming normally. But slowly, something clicked. In the water, The noise of the world faded away. The constant buzzing in his head became quiet. The pool was a place of order. There were black lines on the bottom. There were rules. There was rhythm. For a boy with ADHD, this was paradise. At the North Baltimore Aquatic Club, Michael met a man who would become his lifelong coach, mentor, and second father, Bob Bowman. Bowman was a tall, intense man with a deep understanding of the science of swimming. He was not warm and cuddly. He was demanding, exacting, and relentless. When Bowman saw the 11-year-old Michael swim, he saw something raw but extraordinary. He saw a long, thin body with huge hands and size 14 feet, like natural flippers. He saw double-jointed elbows and knees that gave him an almost inhuman range of motion. But most importantly, he saw a competitive fire that burned hotter than anyone else in the pool. Bowman took Michael under his wing. The training was brutal. Bowman believed in pushing his swimmers to their absolute limits and then pushing a little further. He would make Michael swim sets that seemed impossible. Long hours, early mornings, freezing water, aching muscles. But Michael never complained. He loved it. He learned that his hyperactivity, his constant need for movement, could be channeled into relentless training. While other kids got bored and lost focus, Michael could swim lap after lap for hours, his mind in a meditative trance. He set a simple goal for himself very early. At the age of 13, he wrote down a list of world records he wanted to break. At the top of the list, in big letters, he wrote, "Make the Olympic team." He taped that list to the wall of his bedroom. He read it every day. In 2000, at the age of 15, Michael Phelps qualified for the U.S. Olympic team. He was the youngest American male swimmer to make the Olympics in 68 years. He traveled to Sydney, Australia. The lights, the crowds, the world's best athletes. He was a kid in a candy store. He did not win a medal, finishing 5th in the 200-meter butterfly. But the experience was life-changing. He came home with a fire in his belly. He told Bob Bowman, "I'm going to win gold next time." A lot of them. Bowman believed him. The next 4 years were a relentless grind. Bowman designed a training program that was beyond punishing. Michael trained every single day of the year. No holidays, no birthdays off, not even Christmas. If Bowman gave him a day off, Michael would call him and beg to swim. He would wake up at 6:30 in the morning, swim for 2 hours, then go to the gym for weight training, then come back to the pool for another 2 hours in the afternoon. He would eat an astonishing amount of food, around 10,000 calories a day, including large pizzas, pasta, and sandwiches, just to fuel his body. He was a machine built to swim. Bowman also worked on his mind. He would do things to prepare Michael for chaos. He would step on his goggles before a race so they would fill with water. He would give him wrong information, late rides, anything to make him uncomfortable. The message was clear: nothing can break your focus. Your mind must be stronger than any obstacle. The 2004 Athens Olympics were Michael's coming out party. He was 19 years old. He was entered in 8 events, an incredible number. He won 6 gold medals and 2 bronze medals. He was a star. But he was still chasing the ultimate dream, the record of 7 gold medals at a single Olympics, set by his countryman Mark Spitz in 1972. Michael had come close. But he wanted more. He wanted to do something that had never been done. 8 golds. The next 4 years were an escalation of obsession. Bowman pushed him even harder. The training became more scientific, more precise. Michael worked with biomechanics experts. He analyzed every detail of his stroke. In 2007, he won 7 gold medals at the World Championships. The stage was set for Beijing. The 2008 Beijing Olympics. The water cube, a beautiful bubble-like building, was the stage. The entire world was watching. Could Michael Phelps win 8 gold medals? The first event was the 400-meter individual medley, a grueling race that combines all 4 strokes: butterfly, backstroke, breaststroke, and freestyle. Michael destroyed the field and shattered his own world record. Gold number 1. The fourth event was the 200-meter butterfly. But when Michael dove into the pool, something went terribly wrong. His goggles filled with water. He was completely blind. He could not see the walls, could not see the other swimmers. Panic could have crushed a lesser athlete. But Michael's mind went back to the days Bowman had stepped on his goggles. He started counting his strokes. He knew exactly how many strokes it took him to get from one end of the pool to the other. He trusted his body. He reached the wall, touched it, and ripped off his goggles. He squinted at the scoreboard. He had not only won, he had broken the world record. He had won blind. The most dramatic moment came in the 7th event, the 100-meter butterfly. Michael was neck and neck with the Serbian swimmer Milorad Čavić. Čavić was leading as they approached the wall. It seemed certain that Michael would lose. But in the last possible millisecond, Michael took an extra half-stroke, a desperate, scrambling lunge. Čavić glided into the wall. The touchpad registered Michael's finish 1/100th of a second ahead. 0.01 seconds. The Serbian coach protested. The officials reviewed the underwater video, and it showed clearly that Michael's fingertips had touched the wall first. He had won by the slimmest margin in Olympic history. It was a miracle. The 8th and final event was the 4x100-meter medley relay. Michael swam the butterfly leg. His teammate Jason Lezak held off a hard-charging anchor. The United States won. Michael Phelps had done it. 8 gold medals. 8 events, 8 wins, 7 world records. He stood on the podium, draped in gold, and his eyes searched the crowd for his mother. He had achieved the impossible. After Beijing, Michael struggled. He had reached the absolute summit of his sport. The question, "What now?" haunted him. He took a break from the intense training. He ate what he wanted. He partied. He found himself lost. The rigid structure that had held his ADHD in check was gone. In 2009, a photograph surfaced showing him with a pipe used for smoking marijuana. The scandal was huge. He was banned from competition for 3 months. He was publicly shamed. He apologized, but the incident was a sign of a deeper unraveling. He came back for the 2012 London Olympics. He was not in the best shape of his life, but his will carried him. He won 4 more gold medals and 2 silvers. After the final relay, he announced his retirement. He was 27 years old. He walked away from the pool with a total of 22 Olympic medals, 18 of them gold. The greatest Olympic career in history was over. Or so everyone thought. The years after retirement were the darkest of his life. Without the pool, he was an engine without purpose. The depression that had been lurking beneath the surface swallowed him whole. He rarely left his house. He would stay in a dark bedroom for days, barely eating, barely speaking. He thought about suicide. He said later, "I didn't want to be alive. I felt like it was over. I was just done." His ADHD and anxiety spiraled. He was arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol, his second DUI. He was at absolute rock bottom. His mother, Debbie, was terrified. His friends staged an intervention. They told him he needed help. For the first time, Michael Phelps, the man who had overcome every physical obstacle, admitted he could not overcome this one alone. He checked himself into a treatment facility, an inpatient rehabilitation center for mental health. He spent 45 days there. He went to therapy. He learned about his triggers, his thought patterns. He learned that vulnerability was not weakness. It was strength. He learned to sit with his feelings, not run from them. He said, "I was so lost. I didn't want to see anyone. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I felt like I was letting everyone down. And I finally realized that I needed help." And that was the scariest, but also the most freeing moment of my life. After rehab, Michael made a decision. He wanted to end his career on his own terms. He wanted to walk away from the pool as a healthy, happy man. He began training again with a new perspective. He was not swimming for medals. He was swimming for himself. He qualified for the 2016 Rio Olympics. He was 31 years old, the oldest male swimmer to compete in an individual event for the U.S. in nearly a century. He won 5 more gold medals and 1 silver. In his final race, he stood on the podium, his eyes wet with tears, and he tapped his heart to the crowd. He was at peace. After Rio, Michael retired for good. This time, he was ready. He married Nicole Johnson, a former beauty queen, and they have 3 sons. He became an outspoken advocate for mental health. He has spoken to Congress, appeared in documentaries, and shared his story with millions. He wants to break the stigma. He wants people to know that it's okay to not be okay. He has said, "The times I struggled the most, I thought I was alone. I didn't want to open up. But once I did, I realized that I wasn't alone." There are so many people going through the exact same thing. His foundation, the Michael Phelps Foundation, promotes water safety and mental wellness for children. He teaches kids not just how to swim, but how to manage their emotions. He wants to be for others what Bob Bowman was for him, a guide, a mentor, a source of strength. Now, what can we learn from the extraordinary life of Michael Phelps? First, your differences can be your superpowers. Michael's ADHD made him a disaster in the classroom, but it gave him an infinite well of energy and the ability to hyperfocus on something he loved. What society labeled a disorder, he turned into his greatest competitive advantage. Do not let labels limit you. Your unique mind, your unique way of seeing the world, is a gift. Second, discipline creates freedom. The brutal, endless training was not a prison. It was the structure that allowed his genius to flourish. The strict regimen of the pool gave his chaotic mind a framework. Discipline in your English studies, a regular time, a structured plan, will set you free to express yourself. Third, prepare your mind for chaos. Bob Bowman intentionally broke Michael's goggles. He taught him to expect the unexpected. In life, things will go wrong. You will forget the word you need. You will misunderstand a question. You will feel embarrassed. But if you have prepared your mind to stay calm under pressure, you can still succeed even when you are flying blind. Fourth, it is okay to not be okay. This is the most important lesson. The greatest Olympian of all time, a man who seemed superhuman, was suffering deeply. And he was brave enough to say, "I need help." There is no shame in struggling. Depression and anxiety are real illnesses, not signs of weakness. Talking about your feelings, seeking therapy, and leaning on your friends and family are acts of profound courage. If you are hurting, please reach out. Fifth, setbacks can be a setup for a comeback. Michael's DUI, his scandals, his suicidal thoughts could have been the end of his story. Instead, he used them as a turning point. He rebuilt himself from the ground up. Your failures are not your final destination. They're the soil in which your future success will grow. And finally, live for something bigger than yourself. Michael's greatest legacy may not be his 23 gold medals. It may be the millions of people he has inspired to talk openly about mental health. He has said, "The medal is a wonderful thing. But if you're not okay, it doesn't matter. Find a purpose that is bigger than your own achievements. Use your journey, your struggles, and your voice to help others." Michael Phelps once said, "You can't put a limit on anything. The more you dream, the farther you get." And he also said, if you want to be the best, you have to do things that other people aren't willing to do. You are on a journey with your English. You might feel hyperactive, unfocused, and full of doubts. But imagine yourself diving into that blue water. Imagine the silence. Imagine the rhythm of the strokes. One word after another. One sentence after another. You are training your mind. You are building your endurance. And one day, you will stand on your own podium, not an Olympic podium, but the podium of your own personal victory. And you will look back at the boy or girl who could not speak a word, and you will smile. So, take a deep breath. Dive in. The water is waiting. Thank you for listening to this story. If it moved you, if it made you think about your own mental health or your own dreams, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Share this with someone who might be struggling in silence. And let me know in the comments, what is one small goal you are working on right now, one stroke at a time? I read every comment. Until next time, keep your head above water. Keep your mind strong, and always remember that the bravest thing you can say is, "I need help." Bye for now.